High-grade Gundam Astray red frame. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs, 2Bs, 3.0 here after taking a look at that master grade back there. But now it's time to focus back on the high-grade Gundam Astray red frame flight unit. Yes, it's a mouthful. You've already seen the unbox, but now it's time to take a look at the individual parts, all the seals and the little painted apps, and see exactly how the parts are going to differ from that blue frame you see right there before it all gets put together. Here's the plates that have been emptied to put it all together there, and for this kit I did a little bit more work than usual. You can see some paint back there, and from the seal sheet that I didn't put on these silver ones, the gold ones, and those ones I will put on. But a little bit of painting there and a little bit of tape hopefully is going to go a long way. And also, this one is really useful to have a $2 Gundam ink black marker here, so that you're actually going to be able to fill in all the parts on the head. Standard Astray parts here, with the legs being similar, but you're going to get some changes from the blue frame in the waist, the shoulders, and the head and backpack there, so it didn't feel dull putting it together for the second time. Standard red frame armaments there with the shield and rifle. You can also see 2 extra manipulators. You've got 2 dynamic ones and 2 weapon holders. I did put the seal on the shoulder, and the Baku head is going to be a lot of fun there. 4 beams, 2 specifically for that, and of course the flight unit that puts itself in the name of this. I'm just excited to have another version and a better version of the red frame itself. I'm a huge fan of the MS design, and it's just great how well that gets reflected here in high grade. It's the kind of thing where you see so many red and white parts protruding there that it's just exactly as it should be, despite the fact it's 1/144th. The hips are going to rotate and go up and down there, and for the bend at the knee, you'll see that it's moving in a couple places there, and this was nice and smooth. Every once in a while, you might just have to take that piece and make sure that it gets out of the way as it rolls back there. But otherwise, the ankles are going to be moving well on double ball joints, and the feet are really well moving, so that's going to allow for all sorts of cool poses. And it is fun because the feet are actually different from the blue frames as well. No crossbone knives here. You'll notice that I didn't put on a lot of marking, just a little bit of brown on the red, and otherwise a little bit of gray, but otherwise you can hardly line this kit at all, and I think it'll look just fine. In terms of the back, it's not going to be as exciting the blue frame. He needs to keep some ammo down there for his Gatling gun. Lowe has no such need, but otherwise simple side pieces. These have fallen off a couple times constructing, so just be a little careful. The chest section is going to introduce the gray to the body here, and you'll see that it'll move ever so slightly there independently. Just love the lots of colors and little bits of space there as you drop this black part on top, revealing the cockpit hatch. You could put a little bit of lining in there, and I didn't. But otherwise, you just have 2 seals there in red. Otherwise, the rest of the colors is actually going to be coming from plastic. Big fan of the way the shoulders drop in from the top there, and they're still going to be moving pretty well, although not quite coming as forward as you might like for some of the sword poses. And on the back, you're going to have this interesting looking, and it follows very nicely with the whole muscle theme of these MSs. And I remember building my MG and lamenting its lack of a regular backpack here, and you can see what this is going to be getting you. You've got some red parts there protruding at the bottom, otherwise some good details, but really simple, except for the way it's actually going to attach on. As you take this, plug it in on the bottom, hopefully get a nice punch sound, and then you get to plug it into the back there. And once it's on there, it is still going to be able to rock forward and back slightly, and the beam sabers are not going to be moving, but remember he's got 2 regular beams for those in addition to the big 2. But he'll need arms to grasp it, and of course these ones do a very nice job of it, starting with the very famous Lowe and the Junk Guild logo up there. I'm very glad it doesn't say Kai or anything silly like that for fans of the original manga. But it's still going to be looking pretty good. The shoulders are looking sharp. This is going to be different from the blue frame, the where they're assembled, and these great looking vents on the back there. Not a big fan of the fact that you have to put seals on here. And actually, if you take a look, there's 3. I'm a fan of the front one and the back one. Actually, I wasn't going to put the back one on, but then I saw I did it for the blue frame, so I might as well keep them the same. But I did skip this one for the blue frame. I just think it sits a little bit too far forward there. You could always cheat and pull it back, but I actually think it looks a little bit better without. So after this, I'm just going to be taking it right off here. But otherwise, you've got your shield connector looking sharp and the elbow bend. You can see 2 moving parts there, and you're going to get a very nice 180. All sorts of acrobatic, interesting poses, and when you've got a dynamic hand, it's all the better to go and fix something, steal it, repair it, and then use it well. Really, I should use salvage instead of steal with these guys. For the shield, this is actually worth stopping and talking about. Yes, Bandai, you can do this for high grades. There's no need for us to put seals all over the place. A simple construction, 1 nice white piece there, the big red cross there, and then you just put the black piece on the top. 3 pieces of plastic showing through, it seems like 5 different colors. Love it, Bandai, please do it every time. And hopefully this simple yet effective and variable shield connector is going to do the job. With the beam rifle having a little bit more of a rounded effect to it, and definitely a little bit different from the regular beam rifles that we see across Gundam, you can see that this part is going to be moving, and play value, why yes, because if you detach that attachment point there and you take this gray part, you'll see the way that that's just, the trigger is going to be fitting in there, and you can go and attach this on, and once you've done that, you can actually attach this into the side of the flight unit. Yes, it's going to be asymmetrical, but he's got everything he needs as he whooshes off into Gundam vs. Gundam battle. Now, fans of the 150 episode anime are definitely going to remember this. You've got the cool head that might as well just pick it up at salvage, because it's just a lot of fun, and hey, if it's got beam sabers there, why not just use its beam sabers as your own punching glove there? When you're actually going to be putting it together, you've got a couple big gray pieces, 2 small ones, and then on the inside here, you've actually got this part which you'll attach into the fist first before plugging it in. Hopefully it's actually going to work out in practice. And they do go to the trouble of giving you 2 seals there, red eyes, and that blue one up there. And of course, the big angry whispers just make this dog a lot of fun to punch with. So how about the flight unit that was put in the game and in the name of this actual high-grade kit here? I'm actually pretty impressed with it. It's very nice the way you're going to be putting on, again, getting lots of gray from few pieces of plastic. You just put the red on top as you've got these parts. I think those parts show through very nicely. And you can see that these bottom parts are going to be moving, not a bad range of motion, but nothing like the real grade Ale Strike or anything like that. This is where you can attach the shield and the beam rifle, so you can go with either side. And for these main wings, well, what can you do with them? You can move them up and down about that much and forward and back. Not at all. I'm never a big fan of when you're putting on big seals like this and having to wrap them around. You always figure they're going to come off after some time, but I've got to say they fit very well. And just putting that little bit of white there on the red with the black, and when you see the gray on the back, this is looking well-equipped, colorful, and usable. But for me, it's not the flight unit, but instead the Gabera Straight, the samurai blade that Lowe wields so effectively that really sets him apart in the Gundam spin-off pantheon, and if not the main pantheon itself. Anyway, for this part where you're actually going to be putting it away, I remember having to check with an actual samurai at a castle whether it's going to be up or down. Anyway, this was just a lot of fun to put together. I've got to say, Bandai deserves a fair bit of credit for it. 2 big pieces of white that you're going to be putting together, a little bit of gray lining, and this red piece down here is actually going to be the cap that holds it all together. And this sticker here, I was a little bit worried about how these stickers were going to go on. Definitely it would be a lot of work to paint it up properly, but this one you'll notice that it's going to be attaching on, but it's not going to go all the way around, and yet it's going to be looking good, revealing a little bit of white and butting in there very nicely to this part up at the top. If you wanted to paint these ones, these are just 2 seals that I've put on. It would be very easy because they're nice and raised, but the real one is getting lots of color down there, 2 different shades of gold, and it's looking pretty good except for where that white is going to be exposed. And whenever you have something like this, you can tell that Bandai, they put one side too short so it's going to go all the way up against it, and the other side longer so it's going to be folding over the top. However, I've got to say that the 4 stickers that are put on here are actually looking pretty good, and you can keep that. You can imagine that it's still going to look really good, especially considering that most of the time it's going to be behind the body anyway. But for the Gabera Straight itself, well, I couldn't just put those ugly seals on, so it's silver for the actual blade and gold down there for the middle part, so I just taped off the bottom part, and then I went and sprayed the silver, and then I taped off the rest, and then just added this gold, so let's see what this is going to be like. And here's the end result. What I've done is I put the seals on either side of the handle down there, and you can see that's pretty clever on Bandai's part. Hopefully it's going to stay in the hand well, and you're not actually going to have any issues of the stickers getting wrecked by the hands. The gold is going to be looking okay, top and bottom there, but definitely where you see those little X's, I realized that I should have painted those up in gold as well. It would have been not bad to actually tape it off, but the silver is going to be looking good, and hopefully it's going to look pretty cool in hand there, and better than it would with seals anyway, even though it's not mega sized. Finally, the head is one of my absolute favorite features of the red frame, and it was really fun to see the differences. This is the much more typical Astray head here, then the blue frame, which is heavily modified. But if you get in there, just a little bit of black ink is going to take care of the ears. Bandai does all the work for getting the under eyes and the cheeks and the goatee done up in red there properly. But the one thing that was a little bit disappointing for me is just that these channels here are very wide, and if you go in there with your regular $2 lining marker, I just found that it just rubbed off at the drop of a hat unless you top coat it or do something. So anyway, this is where the old Gundam marker came in. Some black ink went in there nicely. Just be careful that it doesn't get on the parts that you cut off. But the oversized, I'd say that the red V-fin there is looking exactly the right size. The green seals look good. This is exactly how the red frame should look and tops it off nicely. So I really wondered going in whether this was going to be too boring compared to the blue frame, or for those that have already built it. And I've got to say, between new feet, new shoulders, and new head sculpt, and just new weapons, new waist, new flight unit, and just the sword being way better than I expected, throw in the bonus of seals, there's tons of good things about putting this kit together, and lots of play options, as you can see, from the Baku head and everything else. So of course, stick around to see it all put together, and let me know what you think with a comment down below. Is this better than the 1/100th, the old high grade, the master grade? Let's find out. Thanks for watching, everybody. See ya. Of course, I may be bored by the time I've built 2 high-grade gold frames, another high-grade gold frame, a green frame, and yeah, I guess we'll get a high-grade noir at some point in the future too.